Round.
Okay.
Am I the right way up?
Hey!
Hello!
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited.
I'm really excited to see what you've got to show me.
Okay.
But first we'll start with an introduction. Just introduce yourself and tell me a bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name's Emily Hodgkin and I'm a journalist. That's my full-time job. I'm a deputy editor of lifestyle at The Express. And I'm also a photographer and I guess Instagrammer, even though that sounds weird to say. I've got a passion for second-hand clothes and my photography, so I post my stuff on there. I'm a blogger as well. I write about mental health and second-hand clothing, so that's everything I do.
Amazing.
So, it sounds like a lot. It's not that much. And there needs to be one whole title for it, but there isn't.
Yeah. And so how did you get into working at The Express?
Well, it was actually one of those rare occasions where I literally applied for the job online and they said, yeah, come in for an interview, and I got it, which
That's amazing.
hardly ever happens. But I worked at Mail Online before and I got really bad burnout. My mental health was really bad, so I took a 2 months off and I went on a trip to the US and I stayed in California for a bit.
Wow.
And stayed in New York for a bit, and then New York's so expensive. I realised shit, I've got no money, so I started applying for jobs while I was there, and then it just was really easy like that, thankfully.
That's really good. Yeah, that is an easy story.
I know most people get jobs through knowing people.
Yeah.
It's literally, I've never ever got, normally I apply for jobs online and no one replies, you don't even know if anyone's received the email.
Yeah, that's so frustrating. So frustrating about job hunting. It's just that not knowing. And then you're kind of but why?
Yeah, I know.
It's horrendous.
On this occasion, it actually worked.
I'm so jealous you went to America though. I'd absolutely love to go.
It was amazing. I was having such a bad time in my life in general, and I was oh, F it, I need to go away. And my cousin thankfully lives in California, so I had kind of a base there, and she lives with her husband and his family are all amazing, so I kind of I've met them for the first time and they kind of took me in, and then I stayed in Malibu, I stayed just off Hollywood Boulevard, and I've never been to these places before. It was really cool.
That's so great. What was the style like there? Do you find did that influence your fashion in any way?
It didn't, because in California the style is very LA focused, obviously, because that's kind of the cultural hub of California, I suppose. So it's at the time, how long ago was this? Maybe 4 years ago. So it was just kind of skinny jeans and stilettos and chic,
yeah,
kind of tops. But the women of the plastic surgery is very, very popular there. So it's almost it's more about that than anything else. And it's it was a lot more about beauty than it really was about style.
Yeah.
So I didn't see a lot of much of a counterculture stylistically there. I mean, on Hollywood Boulevard you kind of get it a bit, and it's this trashy old school Hollywood vibe, kind of reminiscent of the 90s, but only in the sense that you have a lot of lingerie shops down Hollywood Boulevard that sell really sexy 90s style trashy lingerie. You know how that was really in at the time, and some guys wearing that are kind of the 90s rock star with bandanas and baggy jeans, but that's that's a very small amount of people, and it's not a youth kind of thing.
Yeah.
And everyone was so obsessed with brands there, I feel.
Yeah.
Everyone wanted to wear a Gucci watch and a t-shirt that said like Dior on it or whatever, you know. It was very designer oriented.
Yeah, so I feel like, because my style is quite, well, I'm gonna say fickle. Sometimes, like, I change my mind about stuff. I think like that's the nature of liking fast fashion as well, but that means that I don't trust myself to invest in anything designer, because I just don't think I would like it for long enough. Which
I think in a way it tricks you. Like, I've gone through a lot of phases in my life where I get really into a certain look and I think, this is me, this is going to be like my style forever. So I get a whole wardrobe together and spend money on it, and then I like go off it. And like, that's so typical, but I'm also one of those people who, like, I get into it to too much of an extent, and I'm like, I want everything in my life to be like this aesthetic. So I actually was thinking the other day, like, I'm like into vintage, and I feel like this is going to be more of a long-term thing. To be fair, I've always liked second-hand and vintage clothes. And I'm trying to take more of a sustainable approach to my wardrobe, which hopefully is going to be more long term. You know, I'm doing it for ethical reasons as well as because I feel like it suits my personal style. So I like to think, hopefully, I'm not going to just change on a dime.
Yeah.
But also in terms of having a more of a vintage wardrobe, I feel like even if I do, I'll still want to focus on selling these items on instead of just throwing them away, which I've done in the past. Like, I'm over this blazer, I'm just chucking it in the bin because I couldn't be bothered to take it to the charity shop or sell it, which is a really like bad attitude to have.
Yeah.
So,
no,
I'm over that.
I love vintage clothing. I've also done the same. Like, I've been through so many phases. I was definitely like an emo when I was in school.
Me too.
Oh my gosh.
I loved it so much. I'm actually still, because I'm at my parents' right now, so some of the stuff I've picked out is stuff I've bought quite recently or like bought forever ago and is still keeping here. And under my bed is like where all my old stuff is, and I've got some tartan Converse with like Fall Out Boy lyrics on them, like that I've written on the biro. So good.
What was it about like writing lyrics on stuff? Like, my backpack was covered in drawings, like my Quicksilver backpack.
Yeah. I don't know. I think a lot of it was like, I think it was a statement about how bored you were in class. Like, I'm too creative and cool for maths, so I've drawn on my backpack. I think was kind of like the vibe.
Yeah.
But also, like, you know, having these really like, what I felt at the time were heartfelt emo lyrics, and now I look back, I'm like, I still like hold such a candle for Fall Out Boy, but also like, this is just music about guys like whining because like some girl they like doesn't like them. Like, it's not that deep.
Oh my god. Is there any other phases you've been through that you just think, oh my god, never again? I went. This is a phase that I still think is quite cool because, but after the emo phase, I went through this. Like, my dad is most like quite a cool dad. Like, he has guitars and motorbikes, and he was like into the Strokes, and that got me into the Strokes. And then I went through this like real indie phase where I wore like skinny jeans and pointy shoes, and I started wearing men's t-shirts from Top Man, and I wore a rosary, and I had a hobby, and I wore like men's cardigans, and I thought it was like so cool. And also at the time I got like my first ever serious boyfriend who I like fell head over heels in love with, and he was he rollerbladed, and he also had like the skinny jeans and like wore aviators and like listened to the Strokes, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool, we're so cool. I mean, and I still look back, I think if I saw me walking down the street now, I'd still be like, that's a cool vibe. Like, I still like that whole Strokes like vibe. Yeah, definitely, it's super cool. The Strokes are cool. I remember like going crazy when they used to come on in
this nightclub that we used to go to in Liverpool, and it was like just the best moment of the night when the Strokes came on, and all my friends would like go to the dance floor. We'd be like, oh my god,
and I love them, but I also like fancy them all, and like I still do. Like they released a new album recently, and there's some like videos of them just playing music, and I'm like, they're all like 40 now, but like still really hot, and like that's like influenced my taste in men forever. Like I still love men with long hair who smoke, and I always will.
Yeah, so edgy. I love the top that you're wearing. That's really nice.
Thank you.
Is that
it's
vintage?
Actually a dress.
Oh, it's cute.
Thank you. I got it off Depop. I bought this one recently because I've come back, like I said, and it's lockdown now, and I came back for a week, so I bought like 3 t-shirts and a pair of jeans. And now it's been a really long time in lockdown. I just got really bored, and I'm sick of wearing my mum's clothes. She dresses quite well, but also like it's not exactly me. So I got a little haul in, and this was one of them. It's really nice. It's vintage. It's got these really cool, like original, like plasticky buttons.
Oh, they're cool.
Which I think are so nice. And it's a shame because it's missing 2 on the neck.
Oh,
so what I'm going to have to do is move the ones from here to the neck, and then I think I'll replace the ones on the sleeves.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah. I did the same thing. So I came here and I kind of thought maybe 3 weeks. I was like, oh, I just want to be in comfy clothing. And then like now I'm just really missing my wardrobe. And you see people with like a, what's it called when they only have like a certain number of clothes?
Capsule wardrobe.
Yeah, they have a capsule wardrobe, and like that will just never ever be me. Like I am wearing things more now, but yeah,
I think it's much harder to do the capsule wardrobe thing when you're interested in vintage clothes as well, because I sort of, you know, like I like the different eras and I have an appreciation for that. But then it makes me want to buy more like statement-y pieces, like this dress, for example. I can't imagine wearing it in too many ways because it just, like, it is what it is. It's a mini dress. Like,
yeah.
How would it fit into a capsule wardrobe, you know? And I do that with lots of, like, I've got some really 80s, like, maxi dresses that I feel like Princess Diana would wear. And it's like, that's not a capsule thing, you know?
No. Yeah.
I do get jealous of it though, because I think, oh, that would be quite easy. And I also get I've always failed to like do the like very chic look that's just like maybe like Grace Kelly, kind of like high-waisted jeans and like a white shirt. And on some people, like just that combination with like ballet flats looks incredible. But like on me, I always prefer wearing like brighter colours and like prints and stuff. But I do get jealous of people who can just put on like a shirt and jeans and that's their wardrobe and they look amazing in it all the time and it's really simple, you know?
Yeah, I definitely feel that. I don't know how people get away with doing that and making it look so brilliant. I always feel like, I don't know, there's something missing, there's something not quite right. It's too toned down.
Yeah, and I don't know whether it's just like it makes me focus more on myself, whereas like I like focusing on the clothes.
Yeah.
You know, like, and I don't know, like, not that I really dislike the way that I look in any particular way, but I don't know, maybe it's like some kind of teenage thing where like I've always liked making a statement with the clothes because people focus on the clothes. Like in a way it's a bit of a barrier.
Yeah, I think that. And I think as well, if you get say if you get attention for like dressing a certain way, then like people expect it and then you have to like live up to that expectation all the time.
Yeah,
so I kind of find I'm like chasing my tail a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Like if you look really chic constantly, then I guess you might have a bad outfit day and people are like, oh, Emily's really off her game. Whereas if I, you know, sometimes look great, sometimes I don't nail the look, but I'm always like trying to go for something, then people expect on average my looks to be a certain way.
Yeah. Definitely. Another thing that I really wanted to talk about was your podcast.
Oh,
because I absolutely love it. I felt like for about a couple of days, I looked at your blog and I listened to like loads of episodes of your podcast, and then I felt a bit like, oh my god, am I stalking her a little bit? Do you know what I mean? And I was like, and then all of a sudden I was like, I feel like you knew that I was like looking at, and I was like, is this really weird that I'm like looking at all her content?
I know what you mean. I get that too, especially with people who like I know, but also then like I really like fangirl over their stuff, and I'm like, wow, this is a strange dynamic. No, I mean, I really appreciate that. I think it's nice. I'm really pleased that you enjoy the podcasts, because that's something that I often gets pushed to like the wayside when I'm busy, and now being in lockdown I've had a lot more time to focus on, and I actually get so much enjoyment out of it, so that makes me really happy. And the episode with you on is actually going to go live today. It's all finished, I just need to upload it, so that's exciting.
Yeah, because I listened to the one with your mum, and
oh my gosh, yeah,
I was lying in bed. I was like in the middle of the night, I couldn't sleep, so I put it on, and I had headphones in so George couldn't hear.
Yeah.
And then I was like shaking in bed because I was laughing, and I was like, this is not helping me go to sleep at all, but like I can't not listen to it.
She's like the funniest woman. She's just so like she's like the ultimate like funny without meaning to be funny, but also like she's just generally really like sweet. It's great. Like I always think like she needs her own like panel show, or like some kind of like, I would love her to have her own podcast where she just chats about like political issues, because like the way she says stuff and like her take is always hilarious.
Yeah, it's brilliant. You should give her like 10 minutes at the end each time or something.
Oh my god, that would be brilliant. If I can never move away from my parents' home again due to lockdown, I'm gonna get her some kind of, I need to set her up with a YouTube and like a little mini fake news studio. That's what I'm envisioning.
Yeah. Oh my god. She'll have to come on this with me, and I'll talk to her. We'll do life in clothes.
Absolutely love that. She's obsessed like with clothes and fashion too. She'd have so much to say. Her wardrobe's massive though. Like so these two wardrobes behind me are full of her clothes. There's a wardrobe in the spare room full of her clothes in my sister's old room, and then she's got two wardrobes in like the main bedroom that are also full of her clothes.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So she's always been really into fashion and stuff then. Did that influence you the way, do you think that's reflected on your style, or like you think that's where you got your love from?
Yeah, totally. She's always been interested in fashion herself, and then when me and Grace came along, she was always dressing us up, and our like major bonding stuff was always going out shopping. So yeah, I like, that's where most of it's come from. And she was, I mean, she's bad because she just used to encourage me to buy everything, and like still does, and I'm like, no mum, like I have to pay my mortgage, like you can't do this to me. But because she loves seeing us now wear clothes that she feels like she can't wear anymore. Even though I say to her like, I think that you should dress however you want, she feels that like now she's got to a certain age, she needs to be wary of that. But yeah, I would say so, because my dad absolutely has no interest in fashion whatsoever.
And does your sister have an interest? Because I've not seen her in the flesh, I've listened to her voice. But does she have the same interest?
She does, but not necessarily in the same way that I do. Like I would say that Grace dresses really well, and she has very good taste, but her taste is like totally different from mine. She's a lot more like chic and classic, and maybe more focused on dressing in what looks good for her. So she always looks really put together and like really great. Like when she gets dressed up for a night out, I'd like think, oh wow. Because I think my sister's really, really beautiful, and she just looks so like classic and chic. And I don't know if she particularly has the same interest in kind of like the history of fashion in the way that I do. But I guess I think I just had that because it's
the clothes that I like, having such an interest in vintage, but I think that comes from me wanting to dress in a way that is different and more like zany, maybe, because that's what I find interesting.
Yeah.
So I'd still say that she's got this like eye and this interest in style, but it comes from a totally different place than mine. But that's that's nice, because I mean, I think it's quite cute if you go into our flat and you go into my room and it's all like quite colourful and messy usually, and then you go into Grace's room and it's like all greys and chic, and like it's just so typical. Like she's got wardrobes, she's got not wardrobes, she's got curtains up in her room. Like she went and bought these really nice curtains, and I still haven't got around to putting curtains up in my room, even though we've lived there for like over a year and a half. But I have got like all of this like kitsch art and like weird ornaments and like a vintage radio that like I don't use, you know?
Yeah. All for the aesthetic.
Yeah, so she's about like, you know, good minimalistic basics, and I'm just like, no, just fill it up with like kitsch rubbish. That's what I want.
Okay then, so let's get on to your first item then, the item that you love.
Okay. So this item that I love. This might be so it's a maxi dress.
Yeah, that's nice.
It just fits so well. I mean, it doesn't have a label on it. I know that it's second hand. I believe that it's vintage.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's true vintage. It feels like it to me, like it's got some lining in it, which is a good sign. It's just made really beautifully, like...
That's so nice.
There's like darts here on the chest, which like so many like clothes that you find in high street shops these days like don't have those like details that make the clothes fit really nicely, because it's more time consuming and more expensive. So they just don't bother doing it, you know. So I also find that like I wouldn't normally be a maxi dress person, but vintage maxi dresses fit so much better. Like they're flattering. Like it's like Empire line, but actually it's still really flattering on the waist. It's not just like a big voluminous thing. And I'm 5'3", so I can't wear things that are too shapeless, you know. Yeah.
And you can tell like the zip looks like it's a vintage zip because it's quite heavy duty.
Yeah, I was always told to like look out for like you want a good metal zip, no plastic zips, and that's how you know you're buying a good quality piece of vintage.
Oh, that's a good tip. Yeah, it's really nice, and I love the colours and stuff.
It's a good colours for me in particular. I recently kind of learnt that my palette is this kind of like quite autumnal colours, and I've changed my hair colour so much in my life that it's taken me a while to like settle on knowing what suits me.
Yeah.
But that's been really helpful because, you know, I think knowing what colours suit you and make your skin looks good is very important to looking and feeling good. And sometimes I try on beautiful items and I'm like, this dress is stunning, but I'm like, it's totally the wrong colour on me, like it doesn't make me look good, and so therefore I'm going to leave it for someone else to give a home to, you know?
Yeah. Do you have any like rules when you're shopping for vintage or stuff that you think, I'm definitely not going to go for that, or I don't, like mine's like I don't really buy black, I tend to avoid it?
One rule when I go shopping is that like I try on everything in the shop that appeals to me, which can take ages, but you know, sometimes you think, oh, I like that, and then you think to yourself, but no, it's not very me, I'm not going to try it on. But if it appeals to you in the slightest way, I think give it a go, because things can look so different on you on the hanger. Like you might discover something that looks really great on you, like a shape that you always would just think, no, like that's not for me, might end up looking amazing. I try not to buy something unless I absolutely love it. But then that can be difficult because sometimes like you're still thinking of something like months later. Like One Scoop Store is this Instagram account that I love, and the woman who runs it is amazing, and she has a shop in East London, and I went in and I tried on this dress, which wasn't vintage, it was from one of the Kate Moss Topshop collections.
Oh yeah.
And it was so amazing. It was like this strapless mini dress, and it was black and white polka dots on it, little polka dots, and it had this like big bow like on the bum that went down below the skirt, and it was like so 80s, and I always think about that dress because I thought to myself, this is such a party dress, like I'm never going to have anywhere to wear it. But now I really wish I bought it because like it was a good price, and I'm like, oh, I just want it, like on just one occasion to wear it. But also, like, I guess if you're wearing, I think vintage is a better excuse to just buy something for an occasion because it still will retain its value. So if you want to buy it for a party, just one party, you can probably sell it on again at the same price, and so you're not really making a loss.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
There was something else I was going to ask you about that then. There's something about shopping. Oh yeah. Do you like to go shopping on your own, or do you prefer to be with people?
Oh, I love going shopping on my own.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, and I have like a little like route, especially through like Brick Lane. There's various shops that I love. So I know my route, and it's just a relaxing like day out for me. Like it's a proper self-care thing for me. I get stressed out if I'm shopping with other people because I feel like I can't take the time to try on what I want, and I get self-conscious that I'm making people wait and I'm annoying them if I can't decide. But I can take ages to decide if I'm going to buy something.
Yeah.
And I don't want them to be waiting around while they're just trying to have a nice day out, and I'm like really seriously weighing up the pros and cons of some like jacket, and they're just like, buy it, and I'm like, no, I need to think about this.
Yeah, I do the same, and I like to go back to shops as well. But I've been shopping with a couple of friends, and they'll just go in, they don't try stuff on. I know. And I always try everything on, because I think that's so important, because it's about the way you feel in it, isn't it? It's not necessarily just how the item looks or not. And yeah, like it takes me forever just to go round, and I don't like that pressure from anyone else.
Also with vintage, it's like the fit can be like misleading in the way it looks. When you're like, we know like what size we are thereabouts, and if you're in a high street shop, you can be like, oh, I know the 10 Skinner fit. But vintage clothing is like made in a different era, the sizing is all different. And like I said, like the way they're cut to fit can be different too. So something might have like a tiny waist and fit on your shoulder, and you could have just grabbed it and taken it home and never have got it up. Like I find that especially with vintage trousers all the time, is they're cut so small, and you're just I would never get it over my like hips, you know.
Yeah.
So you have to try it.
Yeah, I do. That is really difficult. Okay then, should we go on to the item that you hate?
Okay, so I don't hate it, but it's one of those ones that there's like a little, here we go. I don't hate it, but I find it really difficult. It's also new. I bought it off Depop.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the trials of like Depop shopping. It was like, I thought it was a much darker blue. And I don't hate this blue. It doesn't look bad, but it's just not the blue that I envisioned. I thought it was like going to be a proper rich royal blue, and it's like a periwinkle.
Yeah.
But I love this. It's got like a sort of multi-hue vibe going on, and I really like that.
Is it like shiny, or is it velvet?
It's shiny.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It needs a good steam because it's incredibly creased, but also it's annoying because like it's sort of supposed to be creased, but then also like there are some creases that are real creases.
Yeah.
Like the crease is going down,
Oh yeah.
Some of them, like intentional, but then that's just a crease, you know. So I don't know what to do with it. My mum's like, let me iron it. I'm like, no, because she can't be trusted with a lot of clothes. Like, she'll burn it, or she just thinks, oh, everything will go in the washing machine, and then she like shrinks everything.
Yeah. I think
also, sorry.
No, it's okay. I think the colour of it as well, because it's shiny, it's like maybe more wintry, but then the colour's quite summery, spring, summer.
It's very thin as well, so I don't know if it's a good winter dress. I also didn't know, it was sometimes when you're buying, like, I thought this was vintage, but it's not. It's from Nasty Gal. And I don't have a problem with buying like fast fashion stuff secondhand per se, but you know, I felt that like this listing was misleading because it didn't say it's from Nasty Gal, and it's from this is what it says on it, Loser Bell, and it's so confusing because I'm like, is this a brand, a now brand, or is it like, because I know they do sometimes sell secondhand stuff on Nasty Gal, but like not much anymore. Like that's how it started, but I wasn't under the impression they sold any like like proper vintage in earnest anymore. So I really didn't know.
Yeah, I didn't know that's how they started. So I got something from Depop, which was like from this exactly the same item as something in Zara, but it had a different label on it. So I don't know how that works. I don't know whether it's like the factory that it was made in has like sold a load of their stuff off.
Probably. I mean,
put labels on it.
Yeah.
But with stuff like that, I'm like, just don't ask questions.
I'm just like, well, the thing is as well, I was like, if I put it on and I absolutely loved it, I'd be like, I don't care. But also, it's like, I'm just so, I thought the sleeves are so big.
Yeah.
So that's like kind of more 80, feels more 80s, and it's like they're quite voluminous at the shoulder, but then it has this enormous collar.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I just feel like it looks too big on me at the top, even though it is my size, and it ties around the waist, but there's something about it that just doesn't feel right. But I can't be bothered. The problem with shopping on Depop is that I just never feel like I can be bothered to send anything back. Also, it's just like a solo person selling their stuff, like not a business, and I feel like, do I want to hassle them, or shall I just give this to a charity shop? It comes with a belt, and one thing I did find was that I actually much prefer it if I do up the collar and then use the belt as a kind of like pussy bow tie, and then belt it. Looks better. Yeah,
because I thought it was that originally, or like I thought, has it got like a head tie or something, like
that
matchy?
Really cute, but I think originally it's just supposed to be belted, and I don't love it like that.
Yeah.
Also, I wear lots of shirts, but shirt dresses I've always felt don't look that particularly great on me, and I think it's because of my height.
What would you wear it with then, if you were gonna wear it? How would you style it?
This is another thing that I can't decide, because like for some reason I just don't feel like it's gonna look right with like sandals and sunglasses, because the sleeves are so big. Like I just don't feel like that's a sleeve this big isn't that a like summery vibe to me. But so then I was thinking maybe it could look cute with like tights in like either white or like a green, like a contrasting tight.
Yeah.
Or maybe even like glittery gold tights like around Christmas time, and like a contrasting coloured like Mary Jane platform or something, like a kind of disco vibe because of the colour. But am I going to keep it until Christmas? Like that look? I don't know.
I feel like you're giving all the signs of like, no.
Yeah, and to be fair, I would return it if it wasn't from Depop, but that's just making me feel like I can't be bothered. Given lockdown, like I just can't be bothered to drive to
post office.
Post office. It was like £9 as well. It wasn't like this was £15. The one I'm wearing now, this one was £9. So it's it's funny, you can spend like so little and love one thing, and the other thing you're just like so meh about. But it wasn't a huge. I don't feel like I've been ripped off because it wasn't particularly expensive.
Yeah, and I'm also really scared of that Depop drama. So I'm really scared of Depop to like ask someone or say someone sent me some trainers and they definitely weren't a 5.
Oh no.
And I tried to wear them, but then like I ended up just hitting my toe a bit, so like I've just sold them on. But I was like, if I say to this girl they're not a 5, I feel like I'm gonna get beaten up. So
it feels so much more personal, doesn't it? Especially if you're like implying that there was something misleading about the listing, because it's like you're calling them a liar.
Yeah, exactly. I was too scared, so I just sent them on their way, which is really sad.
That's me too. I'm such a wimp. I get nervous when I'm just like returning something like anywhere. Like I'm such a nervous, nerdy person in general. I'm like, oh, I'm scared.
Yeah, you feel like they're going to be like, you've worn this, haven't you? And like searching it up. When they don't give a shit. They're just shop workers. Like they don't care. They don't care what you've done with it.
I'm like, what if there's going to be some showdown at like the counter?
Yeah.
I can't deal with like the public shaming, like that whole vibe of people like turning around to look. I'm just like, oh my god.
Well, we'll see what happens with it. We'll see whether you wear it.
I probably will still have it by Christmas, and then I can wear it in this way that I'm envisioning.
Yeah, you never know. The sleeves are really cool though. It'd be good if it like would tuck into something.
There's nothing like particularly wrong with it, but there's a lot of small things. It's just like it came and it's like it's not perfect. It's not like I'm quite lazy about styling. Like I love clothes, but I don't feel like I've ever been good at like styling per se. So I like it when I just buy something and I put it on and I'm like, yeah, great, like I don't have to do anything. When it's something like this that I need to like mess around with to get it to be the way I want it, I'm just like, that stresses me out.
Yeah.
But I do have some friends who are stylists who like, and I've been on holiday with them, and I'm like, oh, I don't know about this, and they literally come and like, change this here, put this there, and you're like, oh wow, like now it looks really great. Like it's such a skill and I just don't have it.
Yeah. Okay, so should we move on to your random item then?
Yes. This is such a great item. I'm obsessed. And I like, this is one of the ones that was here, but it's so good. It's Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Swimming costume. From Black Milk. Do you remember? It's
no.
Like it made like kind of like it was everything it made was like bodycon, and it did this is like it's a swimming costume technically, but it also came with a notice saying don't wear this in the sun and don't swim in it because the like print or whatever will come off. So it's like okay. It came from Australia. I got this when I was at second year of uni, so like 2011.
Have you got much wear out of it?
No, I wore it once to one party, and I wore it with a red pencil skirt and high heels. And I wore it with a really padded bra. So I had some like cleavage going on, and like I pulled at that party, and I walked the guy that I pulled, who I was like aiming to pull, before I went, like I walked in and he was like, oh my god, you look amazing. This worked on him. So
it is, that would really it's so funny. I just imagine it like a little bit smudged or like something if you actually went in the swimming pool with it, like if all the face is kind of moulded into one or something.
Oh my god, yeah, and it would look horrible. Like Aragorn's face starts to like droop. I love it though. And
was it expensive?
Yeah, it was like it was like maybe £80.
Really?
Yeah, and that's not including the amount of money it costs to get it into the country.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and you have to pay a duty to get those items.
Oh my god, you should get it framed or something. Unless you're going to wear it again.
I'm never going to let it go. Also, no one's ever going to want it.
You never know.
Look at, like, so if you like wear it on the back, it's like you've got like Sam and Frodo just like
At your ass.
on either side of your ass crack, like
Guiding
doesn't
it.
want that. And I'm obsessed with Lord of the Rings movies. Like, I love them. So
I preferred Harry Potter really because they came out kind of like at the same time, didn't they?
yeah, so I think Lord of the Rings came out when I was in year 5, and yeah, I do think that was around the time definitely that the books came out.
Yeah. Yeah, the films are like they're just a bit too long and like they're a bit too dark for me. I need something like with a bit more like sun and rainbows and happiness.
Yeah, they are dark movies. Lord of the Rings is like the one for me, and like it's very precious to me this because going to see the Lord of the Rings movies was like a huge thing that me and my dad did together. He read the Lord of the Rings books when he was a child and absolutely loves them, and so I was just about the right age to like go with him to the cinema like for all the movies when they came out, and I just, you know, it was great to like I always have that like memory of like bonding over it with my dad, and they're really nice like moral stories about good and evil, so it's a good avenue to like have chats with your kid.
Yeah.
About, like, ethics, I suppose, but also he always laughs because you're saying that they were quite dark, and in year 5, how old are you in year 5? It's like 7 or 8 or something. And I ran out of the cinema during the first bit of the first movie because there's a scene which is telling the backstory of how the ring came to be in the possession of Isildur because he didn't throw it in the fire. Super nerdy. But it's a big battle scene with all these elves fighting these orcs. And I was terrified of the orcs. It was so scary, so I ran out of the cinema. Like I needed the toilet and ran out, and then like was poking my head around the cinema door, and like only came back out when it was a nice scene in the Shire, and like Frodo and Gandalf were like having a chat, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna come back in now.
That's so cute. Because even like Harry Potter was really scary as well. Like those films were quite terrifying, like with like the snake at the end and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And they get much darker, don't they? But even like, I was really freaked out by the whole thing about Professor Quirrell having Voldemort on the back of his head. That really like scared me, that scene, and like the face like comes at Harry like in the film. I was like,
yeah, it's horrendous. What are we putting ourselves through? So would you say they're your favourite films?
If you ask me like what was my favourite, I don't know if any of them individually I would be like, this is my favourite film, but if you're like, what's your favourite like film series, like I'd have to say Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I'm just so emotionally invested in it. It was like the right time of my life to like get into like a sort of fantasy, you know, like when you're that young, it's those worlds always seem so much more like fresh and exciting. Like I feel like most people have like one fantasy genre that they sort of not genre but one fantasy sort of fiction that they really connect with like when they're young.
Yeah definitely. And that's what I love about this though. I would never have expected you to pull out a Lord of the Rings swimming costume. Like that's just brilliant. Such a wild card.
I feel like I'm such a sucker for any Lord of the Rings merchandise. I feel like if like Gucci did some kind of Lord of the Rings inspired collection, I'd be like, am I going to buy a cloak? I feel like I really want to.
I'd love a cloak, that would be brilliant.
Yeah, swishing a cloak around.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll finish off with who your style icon is, if you've got one.
I have so many. I actually, no one hugely exciting. I've been looking at a lot of like 30s film stars at the moment because a lot of like 70s fashion was quite influenced by like 30s fashion. So like Lauren Bacall, in particular. But again, it's all kind of like blazers and shirts and like jeans, things that like I can't pull off personally, but then I can find ways to sort of adopt it. Like I feel there's a lot of like this cool like layering shirts on top of like blazers, and I like the look of like the lapels and that kind of shape. Who else? I always really like Chloe Sevigny because she's got that kind of like kooky it girl style. Yeah. Which appeals to me. Like her style's quite playful and not, I wouldn't say androgynous, but like if she does sexy, it's always like in a sort of subversive way, which also appeals to me. Yeah. And then I'm always going back to pictures of Kate Moss in general, because she's just always looking great, and she's a big vintage fan herself, so she's often wearing great stuff that's like updated. And then I share a lot of her style icons like Anita Pallenberg, who was Keith Richards' girlfriend and baby mama. So it's quite varied, but I've fallen into this trap of just I have the same style icons and taste in music and everything that I had when I was like 16, and now I'm 28. Yeah. Like it hasn't evolved much.
That's fine though. That's good. At least you're being true to yourself. I've always found because like I find it difficult. I've never been able to dress like, I never consider that my dress is like very sexy or anything, so most of my style icons as well are kind of like what you were saying about the androgynous style and stuff like that. I find it very appealing. I've never gone for like very kind of glamorous stuff. Would you consider your style to be like sexy, or do you feel confident like being sexy?
I do feel confident being sexy, and I like to like feel sexy, and I do often feel sexy, and I don't shy away from like wearing things that are like I like a low neck, but I'll often do that with like a dress that's like a shirt dress instead of like just a low cut dress, and wearing quite like I like to wear tight trousers. Like I quite like my bum and legs, and I like that look because I also feel like it makes me look taller and more kind of proportional. So yeah, no, and I don't shy away from feeling sexy, but for me that sexy look is more like generally a sort of like messy sexy, like the kind of girl that's gonna like be with the band, like that cliche, not like a perfect nightclub kind of like sexy. Like I think lots of people look sexy like that. Like for me though, if I wear that kind of look, I don't feel sexy, I just feel like I'm trying to be sexy. Whereas if I'm wearing something that's a bit more grungy, like messy, pared down, that makes me feel more like me, and then more hot and sexy, I suppose, you know?
Yeah, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you have to like pull down your skirt all night, or like, you know, you're trying to like hold your outfit together almost, and I hate that feeling.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of the time that it really comes down to like the fit of what you're wearing. Like if something fits right, it doesn't always matter like how much skin you're showing, because your body will like feel right in it, and then you feel like so sexy. But it's just it's such a feeling that comes from within. Like we've all been there where we're like trying to get ready to go out with our mate, and they can't find something to wear, and they put on an outfit, and you're like, it's really great, like I can't see why you don't just want to wear that, and they're like, no, it's not right. And then we've always had it the other way around, where you're like, none of this is making me like feel good, and you never like are sexy unless you feel it, you know. I don't think it's something that like someone else can like put on you. Being sexy, it's something you like emanate.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Have you ever had anyone that's like reacted negatively or like said something bad about what you were wearing?
Not to my face. But I've had like people make comments as I like walk away, which is the worst thing to do.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Because it's like, also you just didn't, like, you know, like you don't respect me enough to say anything to me.
Yeah.
But you're just going to say it. And it's like when you know that, like, that people are, like, saying something or laughing loudly enough so you can hear it and they know they're doing it about you, it's like they're almost, like, daring you to, like, turn around and say something, and I never have the nerve as well. And then I feel like, you know, I should have said something. But I never know, like, particularly what they've said.
Yeah.
But, you know,
yeah,
like that it's kind of the vibe, and I'm sure people have like laughed at what I've worn, but now I don't care. I mean, it's obviously not nice for people to do at the time. I remember once I was like sitting outside a cafe in Derby, which is not the most like, it's not the best place to be wearing your like most experimental looks because people just aren't used to it. But I was also going through a bit of a phase, and I was wearing like a wide brimmed hat and smoking a cigarette through a cigarette holder. So like I was kind of asking for this, and then a lot of people walked past and they were like, "What the fuck is she doing?" But I mean, it maybe was a bit like pompous and pretentious what I was going for, but I was just experimenting with a look, you know, and it made me feel silly. But then my friend turned up and he like wears cravats and pointy boots and like backcombs his hair, so as long as you're being laughed at with someone else,
yeah,
that like makes it better.
And I feel like you have to, if you dress like a little bit quirky, like there's always, it's a 50-50 risk, and you have to have those moments where you think, no, this isn't working, or like this is working, to like discover like the good stuff. If you don't take that risk, then you're just going to be in like plain clothes forever, and that's no fun.
Yeah, for sure. But to be honest, now at my like age of 28, which I know is not a ripe old age or anything, but like people, I don't associate with or like have friends who are the types of people who are gonna like talk that way, have like something negative to say about what someone's wearing. Like I wouldn't do that. Like although I love clothes and I love fashion, like I'm never gonna say, oh, what's she wearing? Because firstly, like I don't really care. Like I'm focused on what I'm wearing and what I like, not what other people are wearing. But like, you know, even if I think something's not an outfit that I would necessarily wear, or like maybe something doesn't fit right on someone and I think like that's not a good fit, for example, like, but if they don't care, why would I care? Like,
Yeah.
It's just not something that I'll ever like spend my time thinking about. And also I really appreciate people who have their own taste and dress in that way, whatever it is. So
Yeah.
I think it's cool if someone's going for something. I'm all for that.
Yeah, because that's a bit like when we were talking about vintage shopping before, and I find that that's another reason why I don't like going shopping with people, is because I can pull something out and I know that it's horrible, but I know that it's going to work with something, and you don't want like that first off opinion of someone, or like worrying that they're going to think, why the hell has she picked that up, sort of thing.
Yeah, as well, because that's all. I never like, when I go out in an outfit, like I'm not asking for other people's opinion on it, you know?
Yeah, you're just wearing it for yourself.
Yeah, I don't need other people to tell me if they think my outfit's nice.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, that's so true. I found it like weird going out here like to the shop and stuff, because it's not like London where anyone can pretty much get away with anything. Yeah. Whereas here you definitely feel like you're being stared at, but it's not like an attention that I was like looking for. I'm just kind of dressing this way because it makes me feel happy. I don't necessarily want people to like consider even what I'm wearing, really.
Yeah, I mean, psychologically, like, I get why people sometimes have that, like, attitude, because
like, I'm from a small place, and the way that you dress does, like, unconsciously say something about how you want to, like, appear, or like the impact you want to have on other people. But that's the thing, when you, if in London, what people are dressing kind of like differently, more experimentally, so if you don't like really particularly stand out. Whereas if you come to a small community and you're wearing something that is very different to what everyone else wears, I think they subconsciously assume that you're trying to make some kind of like statement with it. So I understand why in their mind they're like, oh, like, what's going on with that, like, on a very like subconscious like brain level, like there's that kind of like messaging going on. And there are certain situations where like it's really important to like dress correctly. I think, like, I went to India, and it's a different culture, and there are a lot of things in my wardrobe that like I couldn't have worn, and like I was dressing in a more like modest way. And although it kind of felt strange, because I was like, this isn't necessarily like how I would define dressing as me, it's kind of more important at the moment that I like be respectful to this like particular culture, and like also the family that I'm with, that I'm traveling with. Like, if I embarrass these people, it just like shows a lack of like caring, you know. And although that is different to just in the UK dressing like differently, I think it shows that like on a like deep level, like the way you dress does have like messages that it sends out. So I guess what I'm trying to say is, I guess I don't want to like belittle people who like would necessarily like make those comments about what someone's wearing, because it's not always just coming from like a really like nasty place. It's coming from a sort of like psychological place. So I guess people aren't necessarily bullying if that's the kind of attitude they have. It might just be like their background or whatever that is causing them to think that way. Although obviously I do think it's better when people become more like open-minded.
100%.
If all of that makes sense.
Yeah, it definitely does. So that's brilliant. Thank you so much for letting me interview you. I've had a really good time.
It's interesting. I'm glad that you liked my swimming costume. Thank you soon.
Bye bye.